stuff gets to a point and people realize, I don't know if it's the absurdity or the monotony or the whatever, the insincerity kind of like what has developed. And then all of a sudden there's like, and you get nirvana, like something happens, and all of a sudden it's like, boom, there's a shift, and I feel like right now we're at one of those junctures.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Why Music Matters podcast. I'm your host, music journalist and musician Jeff Miers. Throughout my life in and around music, I've often asked myself the question, why does music matter? This podcast will attempt to answer that question with the help of musicians, members of the music industry, and music lovers like you. Today on Why Music Matters, we've got a very special guest, Goo Goo Dolls bassist and founder and president of the Music is Art Festival and the Music is Art Not-for-Profit Foundation, Robby Takac. As one of the most successful musicians to have emerged from the Buffalo music scene over the past 30 years, Robby has a unique perspective on the music business. And as founder of Music is Art, he's relentlessly pursued a vision of music as an agent of community building here in his hometown of Buffalo, New York. Welcome to Why Music Matters, Robby Takac. There he is.
Hey, brother.
How are you doing, man?
How you doing? I'm doing good, man.
Where are you?
I am in one of the most beautiful places in the United States, Bend, Oregon.
Oh, gorgeous.
Yeah, it's really nice. Unfortunately, I have a day off tomorrow, but unfortunately we have a 17-hour drive. So we're headed to like Costa Mesa or something. So I'm not going to get to spend the day, but I've had a day off here before. It's unbelievable, man. Dude, people are like, they have a river here and they built some sort of like dam or something right off of the bridge, or maybe it was an old bridge. I'm not sure what it was, but the river has widened over like the 100 years since they built this thing. So the water kind of courses around it. And dude, people surf on the river.
You got to be kidding me.
It is the craziest. They don't move. They just stay in one line, but they can go like 80 feet back.
Dude, that is so cool. What, have you ever done it?
No, because if you
fall, you're screwed.
Yeah, you'll smash your head on this embankment,
Wow. Dude, people are nuts.
But like, it's amazing, man. Just to watch them do it. They've obviously all, dude, it's obviously they've all grown up doing it. But anyway, it's beautiful here, man.
That's cool. So then, yeah, then you're coming home, right? What are you coming home, the day of? This weekend?
No, I come home the day before. They start placing stages on Thursday. Like bright and early, and decks and bike racks.
Yeah, the whole deal.
Yeah, and that'll go in Thursday, and then I come in Friday at about 1:00 and freak out and move everything.
Of course. Why should this year be any different, man? Well, listen.
But
I can't think of anyone more fitting to be on a podcast called Why Music Matters than you, because you've spent, the better part of your career kind of answering that question in tangible ways. And, 21 years ago, bro, when you started Music is Art, the festival and the foundation, things looked a lot different around here than they do now. And I'm wondering what you've learned about music as an agent of community building in that time, because it feels like that's always what it was about, from the first festival on.
Yeah, I guess, like when we started out, obviously, the roots of this thing, for maybe those listeners who kind of don't know the origin story, we were a festival that decided to just sort of be a little party next to the Allentown Art Festival to sort of like a little bit better represent the indie side of things while we had 100,000 people in our neighborhood.
Right.
Fair. Yeah. And, and that was music and art, and so it seemed like the thing to do, and we got some resistance from uh, the Allentown Festival itself, and it really sort of activated uh, the energies of that little community.
Right.
And so we just, Kim Furlow at the time, and Mark Hunt, and Gino McManus, and kind of the gang that was hanging out down there. We started talking about, like, how do we harness this energy to do something fun, to do something good and fun with. So, that's what the festival grew from. So I think at that time we were sort of feeling a little bit more like Buffalo. Buffalo's in a kind of a bad place 21 years ago. There wasn't a lot of cash here, and rightfully, I guess, when there's holes in the streets and there's people hungry, and your social programs are kind of falling apart, one of the things that gets cut first is the arts.
Always.
And, and I'm not happy about that, but I guess I kind of, as a more advanced adult, understand it. I didn't I didn't understand it quite so well back then, but it drove us to try to activate that community to sort of spackle over those holes that we had in the community, and that was the goal at the beginning. I think it's changed over the years. Now I feel like, it's a thing now. The festival is something, that people have grown up with. There's people playing at it who don't recall there not being a Music is Art festival.
That's the part that blows my mind this year. Like, wow.
Yeah. So, I feel like now it's taken on a little bit different of a complexion. I often tell a story sometimes about when I was a kid, and one of my earliest memories, was my folks bringing me down to the the Allentown Festival on Delaware, and I just remembered, seeing, dudes with long hair and mustaches and no shirts sitting around on the ground playing guitar, and like Hare Krishnas, and I was seeing things and I was smelling things that I never had experienced, like in that little world that I was living in. And although the world has changed a lot, and these kids get, the young people get a chance to see an awful lot of stuff, and know that an awful lot of stuff exists, like, they're not getting the paint on themselves,
right?
Because they're seeing it over their iPad. They're not feeling the thump. They're not standing next to a guy who was working on an unbelievable art piece all day. And feeling what that feels like to actually stand there and feel all this stuff going on, and seeing all these people from alternative lifestyles that just don't make it to Hamburg or wherever these kids might live. You know what I mean? And that's by no means a knock at Hamburg.
Of course not.
I'm just saying, there's things that that exist that just don't cross your path every day. So I feel like now the goal of the festival, anyway, is to sort of present what Buffalo has and Western New York has to offer, that's kind of just a little off the mainstream. And this is a great, safe, and pretty extensive way of sort of experiencing that scene, in a single day. Yeah.
It's like what I think Robert Plant once described Jimmy Page's guitar playing as a little bit to the left of heaven.
Yeah.
That's kind of what
I think. Yeah, I think thinking in different terms. Those are the things that we love to introduce. Kurt Rotterdam, and his situation. In the silos, and of course Chris Main and Don Keller, the folks and that come and help us out. We've been partnering for the last couple of years with the folks at 716 Crucible, and they're helping out with some of the art on the expanded, and we'll get to that.
We will.
Portions of the festival that we'll be adding this year.
Well, one of the things that this really crystallized, because I've been to every one, and what I've really crystallized to me over the past maybe 5 years or so, even through the pandemic when it was a different kind of festival, but is this idea that this is a huge party that we're all kind of throwing for ourselves, for our scene. You know what I mean? And it's like,
I
don't want to say the freaks, but we are sort of like the art and music freaks.
Absolutely. For years we've included the word weirdos.
Yeah. Beautiful word.
On our I love that word so much, man. I really do. And I know some people, like, it was questioned a few times, like, well, do you really need to say that? And I'm like, well, kind of, because I am one of those people.
Me
and I
too,
grew up
bro.
one of those people. and I know that, like, this is a home for that.
Yeah.
And so I always felt that was important.
It is important, and I'm so with you.
Although maybe not politically correct. But,
but I think we know what we mean, and it's not pejorative. We're not putting anybody down, But one thing, we're seeing now a real diversity in the audience across generations, age, where people are coming from when they come to the festival. You're seeing parents with their kids there, when their kids are now adults,
Yeah, for
and 21 years ago, they might not have been born yet.
Well, it's a good chance for parents to kind of share with their kids, like, the things that they love. My man, the Enemies play, like, Pauline plays, like, these are chances for, people to share kind of some of the things that, and you know what, vice versa, man. These kids are like, okay, I know you might not, Mom, Dad, I know you might not like hip hop, but, like, just check this out.
Check
man.
it out.
Just give it a second. Yeah, just give it a second. And, I can nearly guarantee you there's some bonds built through that stuff, with these, with these situations you're talking about.
Yeah, I love it. And I feel like that, that diversity is a big part of, taking myself out of it, just being an attendee of the festival, right? That's a big part of what makes it feel really special. And that seems like it's been growing over time.
Yeah, we when we started, we had a few stages, and
two,
over in the it was two the first year. Yeah, it was two. Well, it was actually one outside and one inside,
facing the window.
You had to look through the window at. Which was a trip. Which I believe is where Declan made his stage debut as well.
That is true.
Declan.
That is true, with you and Freeland. Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. I think it started, with a very small footprint, So when we moved over to the art gallery, because, when we were around on the grounds of the art gallery and such, we still had our main stage, and then we had a satellite stage. Right. It was run by our friend Buck Quigley.
Yes.
And then, and also Brandon Chase ran another satellite stage, and that was a DJ stage and an Americana stage. So we had those two stages, and then we had our main stage. And and then we started adding stages, and we added, like, the hip hop stage, and we added
EDM
blues stage, EDM stuff, and we added, like, like all sorts of different kind of scenes, and it was awesome, man, because all these scenes were happening. But what I realized after a decade plus of this was that we were setting up these little communities, much like in Buffalo, that don't often get a chance to kind of, Venn diagram.
That's the whole
with themselves. Point. Yeah. And I realized there was an opportunity here. And when I think we really zoned in on it was during COVID.
Yeah.
like where we had a chance to sort of like just look at it as a bunch of TV stations. Like we weren't like, and I was like, wow, it's all broken up, and so the next year we made a super conscientious effort to just mix up
Yeah.
most of the stages, So I would say probably 70% of the stages this year are incredibly diverse in what's happening. You'll have country, you'll have metal, you'll have blues, you'll have hip hop, you'll have jazz, and it all kind of happens. And, we try to kind of thematically make it work,
Yeah.
Throughout the day, as we are booking this stuff. But I really found that it, like more people are getting to experience more of the festival.
You mean because it's not segmented in the way that maybe, it was never on purpose, but it ended up being that way.
No,
like you went to your stage and you hung there. All right, here's the Grateful Dead stage. I'm staying here all day.
Exactly.
The point is to like, tune the radio station to everything,
Right.
That's what music is art feels like.
Yeah. So when we started kind of like mixing stuff up more, like, I started hearing more and more comments from people about other things, oh my God, I saw this thing this year, and I was like, well, it's been there the last 3 years. You just never made it, yeah, it just feels like it really helps, with the exposure for folks.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that's always been interesting to me is that you don't have to do this. Like there are a lot of people who, make it out of Buffalo and they go to a major music industry hub, and they maybe don't look back, and it's kind of understandable in a lot of ways. You never did that. And despite the challenges that you've had to face over the years, you've never given up on this and you never gave up on Buffalo. And without trying to sound too cheerleady or anything, man, why?
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, thank you. But second of all, why?
Well, I think, you say, you don't have to do this. I kind of do. I feel like this is something that's, much more than me.
Yeah.
And so I got to keep that situation rolling, I think, Yeah. But why do I do it? For exactly what we talked about a couple of minutes ago. Those first 5-6 hours of that festival, when I'm seeing like the families coming around and like I'm seeing this big old thing that get off the ground that like, despite all the odds and like no matter what you throw at us, it's gonna happen, man.
Yep.
Like it's gonna happen. I don't know what it's gonna be like, like I mean, it's been wet, it's been masked up, it's been stuck in a parking lot in the suburbs, but like it happens, man.
Yep.
It's gonna happen, and it's because of this unbelievably vibrant community that we have. It's gonna happen, man. We'll make sure it happens. Like I knew that when my my old man, who was nearing 70 at the time, like when he said, no, this has got to happen.
Yeah, like, I love it.
I was like, okay, this has to happen. You're right.
Yeah, man. You created a legacy here, and it's part of what it's always been about. And you mentioned this a little bit, is music is art in general, and the festival for sure is musical mentorship for sure. I mean, I know a ton, my son being one of them, but I know so many musicians in this community who, probably made their first public appearance at Music is Art, who are now, 21, 22, 23, a lot of professional musicians out there. And even if they aren't, music maybe and art is a huge part of their life. And I think that was a big part of it, man. That blows my mind. I off the top of my head, I could name 20 people who were like, first time I saw you, or I might even have been part of it, playing with you, There's so much of that. I mean, how significant is that to you?
Yeah, well, once again, that's all part of that thing.
Yeah.
It's like just having it in your community, having it in the culture of what your city does. it's beyond important, I think,
Yeah.
and this is just one of the, I mean, the amount of things that go on in the city of Buffalo,
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, this is just one of them, man. It's funny. It happens so late in the season, that we get a chance to kind of see what goes on all summer too,
Right.
which is, which is kind of a cool thing,
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's right at the beginning of the school year, so there's a lot of visitors, that are able to, come in and experience all these Buffalo offerings, all these
Yeah.
Western New York offerings, and like I said, such a short amount of time. And that's just crazy too. I was talking to we have a new tour manager. Goo Goo Dolls have a new tour manager now. He's been with us for a couple months now, and he doesn't know anything about music is art, So like we spend a lot of time. He and I tend to drive on the bus.
Cool.
Everybody else likes to fly. I hate flying, so I tend to drive on the bus with him. So we talk an awful lot, and he's like, he was asking me what it was like, and it dawned on me that with so much going on, like if you put 10 people in a room, like there's a good chance that those 10 people are going to have unbelievably different experiences at this event.
Yeah.
Man. Because chances are, I mean, what are the chances with all those stages and all those things going on? Like, what are the chances that people are going to see the same stuff? Like,
Right.
not much, like,
That's so true. Your experience can be completely different than the next person's.
It's crazy, right? Like, like just wandering around. I went to this Meow Wolf place the other day. I don't know if you're familiar with
No,
it.
what's that?
It's like Meow Wolf's like an art collective that started in Santa Fe, like just a bunch of artists that lived in a place, and all their studios were in one place, and they sort of put this thing together where the public could come in, and it was basically just the whole place was an art project, basically. Numerous floors, numerous rooms, but they're kind of all over the place now. There's one in the original ones in Santa Fe. There's one in Denver. There's one. I think they're opening one in Dallas. There's one a bunch of places. Anyway, when I was in Denver, I went in, and there's no anything. Like you just walk in, and like there's no signs to tell you where to go. There's and you can just try any door. Like walk down any hallway, like there's holes that like you crawl through, and you might end up in like a place. Like it really reminded me like of that of the experience at Music is Art. Because like, you kind of don't know what's coming next, like turn the corner, you hear something, like you're like, what the heck is that, and you just sort of make your way over and so you can sort of like curate your own experience.
Yeah, man.
Throughout the day, and everything happens so close together, sometimes annoyingly close, I realize, but everything happens so close together that like if you find your attention drifting, or if you're really not into something,
you just walk 2 feet, 10 feet, right?
Or just turn your head.
Turn your head.
And then, you're on to the next thing. So, I think that's one of the special things about this too, is that, everybody's experience. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, and once again, man, like 80-90% of the people there are doing this just out of their heart, man.
Yeah, totally.
Like they just want to see it happen. And like, man, the power of that, man, like if you could harness that somehow, man, I don't know, man, it's crazy.
That'd be powerful medicine if you could harness that and put it in a bottle, man. It is, well, speaking of that, the kind of public facing side of music is art. I think most people in the public get it, right? But there's always kind of a slightly vocal minority of people who seem to have the mistaken impression that this is some huge money maker for you or for Music is Art, which anyone who's ever worked in the not-for-profit world knows is like, oh, that's hilarious, really? But how has that been at all difficult for you to deal with while you're working tirelessly to make sure this festival stays free and open to everyone?
Well, I mean, I guess the spirit of this, excuse me, from the very beginning has really been about coming together, and making something that's a little bit bigger than one single thing or one single person. And, we had almost 500 groups this year, man, musical groups.
That's just music, not even artists. And
that's no. And that's not even DJs. Like, yeah, I mean, like 500 musical acts applied this year, so I mean, the sad end of it was an awful lot of people, couldn't join us. But the beautiful part of it is there were 500 people who wanted to do it. 500 entities that wanted to be part of it. Yeah. And, that's heartwarming. And, same thing with the DJs and same thing with the artists. And, there's a reason it keeps getting bigger. It's because we need it to be bigger.
Yeah.
Like there's so much more going on and there's so much more happening, and I guess this is kind of maybe an opportune time to talk like a little bit about the extension of the festival.
Yes.
Like, the neighborhood down there, like think about what was going on down there, 20 years ago when Music is Art started.
Nothing.
Like,
Cheerios.
People used to go down there for shotgun practice.
Exactly. It was an industrial wasteland, and kind of felt abandoned and sad.
Yeah, and Riverworks and their entire situation kind of woke up that little area down there a little bit, and Peg and Riverfest Park like kind of woke it up a little more. And the Swanee House has always been anchored down there.
Man.
And, like now, we have, Hartman's Brewery opening, who we're doing a stage with this year, and Resurgence Brewery opening, who we're doing a stage with, Papa Grande's Beach Bar Club deal, who we're doing a stage with. Mammoth Studios is down there. They're helping out with the stage, and Swanee House as well. All of a sudden, we're in the entire neighborhood down there.
Yeah.
Now, it's just, oh my God, how amazing is that? That like, you can see that happen, just, in a short, 6-7 years, we've been, down in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
You can see that happen. So like just seeing it kind of spread into the community a little more. And quite honestly, Riverworks is an amazing venue, especially for this, the silos, so unique, and the ruins so unique, and just the whole situation, the rinks, the club, the facilities that are in there. It's like so unbelievably unique, but it feels kind of good to be able to sort of share this a little bit more with a little bit more than just what's going on at Riverworks. Because like you said, I think there is a perception, that, there's people walking away with this, with their pockets full. I can guarantee you that's not the case with our organization.
Yeah.
But the amount of infrastructure it takes to make that day work, and the amount of people it takes, and like, like we have crazy requests, man. Just crazy requests, of people, and I have to hand it to him, man. Riverworks has really rolled with us, on this, and sponsorships, have been able to help pay for some of it. I mean, I'm not crying about this. I'm just saying, I don't think we've ever finished in the black.
Yeah.
From a Music is Art festival. We've always been trying to figure out how to kind of make it up afterwards. But like, the sponsorships that have come in, have been great. A GCR Audio, of course.
Yeah.
Sponsoring this year. We have M&T Bank on as a sponsor this year. Mike Morda, and his, and I'm spacing out the name of his company, and he's going to be so mad at me.
Oh no.
Anyway, there's we have a great group of sponsors who came in, and now with the outside businesses coming in and helping sponsor as well, that's helping a lot. We ran into some traditional funding challenges this year for some reason, but hopefully we're back on track with that. But so we've had to come up with a couple things. We did, like a pretty extended guitar auction this year, which really helped out hugely with that. The folks from Perry's Ice Cream always help out with that a lot, and folks from Bell Rings Towing help out a lot with that. And Donnie Razor and Paul Cambria, of course, Variety Club, they really chip in. So, all these organizations, yourself included, coming in and, helping out a little bit, making some donations help. For the very first time this year, we've always had a VIP situation.
Yeah.
Which offered, food and drinks throughout the day at Riverworks. We've expanded it this year. It's instead of $50, it's $100, but it includes parking and it includes shuttle rides and a boat shuttle rides to get across the river.
Right.
It includes 5 VIP offerings from different businesses and VIP shows, including one with myself and Chris Trapper and Mary Ramsey, which is pretty cool.
It's so cool. I can't wait.
Yeah. There's a lot of really cool stuff going on. And man, I don't even know where to start. We haven't even talked about what's going on this year yet. It's just crazy. The
infrastructure wise, you mean?
Well, just in general,
yeah.
Just like the amount of things that are coming in this year. Once again, it's insane. Josh Heatley, local drummer and rad ass skateboarder dude for life. He and a bunch of the skateboard collectives in town are building up we had a half pipe last year, and it was so much fun that we decided to build a whole skate park this year. So we're gonna have rails to ride, and with a limited liability waiver, you can come in and have all sorts of fun. And we'll have skate bands and skate punk bands.
Perfect.
Older and newer bands, kind of like playing, with each other, in that area, which is, once again, dude, you have no idea how much it warms my heart to see a bunch of 16-year-olds watching a bunch of old punk rockers playing music
and still killing it.
Yeah, exactly. And those 16-year-olds are watching that going, yes. And then watching the old guys, I use that term lovingly.
Yes, thank you.
Watching these kids and definitely thinking to themselves, hell yeah, man, I helped make this happen.
Totally.
That
to me is,
you can feel it, man.
That is like the heart of the festival in what you just said. It just is so much of it, man. I love it. Celebrating who we are and sharing it with each other,
Absolutely. Yeah, we got that going on. We got, of course, the 716 Sideshow again this year with Al Baker and Arlo, and we'll have Nickel City Wrestling over there this year as well, which should be a lot of fun. They do a pretty cool thing. Of course, the Refringement thing that we talked about in the silos. They've also taken over the Rail Barn this year, so we're going to have we did last year as well. So we're going to have EDM and projectionists in there all day, and circus acts. We got Buffalo Ariel coming in this year. We got Cypher happening, hip hop Cypher happening at 9:00 or 10:00, something like that, in the rinks. Green Jello is coming back to play again this year. They'll be at the Sideshow stage. Like I said, Chris Trapper is going to do a VIP set. He's also going to do a set on the main stage as well, which is pretty exciting. He's I believe Hamburg native. I believe maybe Amherst.
Amherst, yeah. He went to high school with my wife.
Oh, amazing.
Great dude. And then we went to Fredonia together, unknowingly.
There you go. of course, the Blossom. Our friends Chet and Rowe from Blossom have their amazing stage again this year, which is going to be great. They have such a scene going on over there.
Definitely.
The Gongarium guy's going to be over there this year with his gongs and stuff. And man, it's just, I think we have so many champions, running these areas now. They've really, of course, the kids area this year, again, it's going to be amazing. I just think, there's been a real, this has always been like the world's biggest backyard carnival.
Totally. Our Lollapalooza.
But it's more like a backyard carnival.
Right. Yeah. That was unfair.
Like when I was a kid, you used to get those. You probably remember those Jerry Lewis Muscular Dystrophy Telethon backyard carnival.
Totally.
Kits.
Yeah.
We did that every year, man. We loved it. We would, and we would throw them all the time. And the spirit was always like, do we have a hose? Yes. Then we have a fountain. I still feel like there's a little bit of that.
Definitely. And music is art for sure.
It's like, we have a hose, we have a fountain, we just take what comes that day. And dude, I got to be honest with you, I don't know half of what's going to happen tomorrow, as far as music goes, as far as art installations go, as far as performance artists, as far as marching bands that are just going to show up, right.
Love it.
I don't know what's going to happen. And that's what's so exciting about it. Guys just busking, folks who can't make it, because there just wasn't enough room, folks coming playing guitar, just standing around playing guitar, it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful for sure.
It is amazing.
I should talk about the art a little. Bit too, I guess.
Please do.
Talking about music so much. Jess Fole is coming back from Baltimore. She's doing an installation called Lava, which will be in the Rinks, which is pretty cool. David Butler, who's been a music is art staple for years, is doing a floating piece, which will be out on that
on a tiki boat or out on
stage. No, it's on the stage that floats around out there.
That's awesome.
Out on the
Buffalo River.
So that's pretty exciting. Of course, Chuck Tingley will be there. The Soul of Ross will be there doing a thing. I'll actually be doing a piece midday as well. So
amazing.
It's kind of exciting. Yeah.
Solo Ross, man. That's just been great to watch that grow.
Dude.
I love Robby.
They are so
Robby Lynch.
Good, man.
Yeah.
They are so good, man. It's just, and they're so so dedicated to getting something so unbelievably impossible done in that amount of time. It's it's just great. It's just great. Yeah. And Chuck Tingley, of course, gonna be there again doing some stuff, and and a lot of great installation stuff as well this year. So I'm really excited. Once again, we have our large chessboards again.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Year. The roller art girls will be there again this year. The roller derby art girls will be there. Anita West has her
stage
this year.
That was really enjoyable last year too.
Americana stage. Yeah, that's pretty exciting. So yeah, man, I'm just, I feel like a pregnant mom. I'll be so excited when I have that baby and it's out of me again. And it'll be another year until the next
next year. Last question for you, Robby. With the festival 21 years, Goo Goo Dolls has been even longer, man. And during that time, I was just thinking this morning before I came down to the studio here, man, you've seen a lot change during this time. I mean, changes in musical trends. Now, massive changes in the way people listen to music. Massive changes in the way musicians make a living from music, right? Made it through a pandemic that almost put this business that we all are involved in one way or another out of business, I'm wondering, now you're on the road right now, and you've been on the road a ton. You know, you guys are still road dogs. What's the impetus to keep going now? And I guess, why does music continue to matter to you as a musician?
You know, it's I listen to an awful lot of people who are unbelievably frustrated with the music business right now.
Yeah.
And I realize that I'm in a place that's different
Yeah.
than most struggling artists. So I guess I have to preface this by saying that I can go out, play our songs for people and make a living, right? But I feel like, you know, streaming has really kind of like disrupted how music works.
Yeah.
And I think like video games and the internet have really sort of like distracted people and made music sort of just a little part of something else.
Yeah.
Quite often. Like I could go into that a little bit more, but you know, now, you know, with AI and you know, more folks making what I like to refer to as unguided music. Like,
what do you mean by
like,
that?
I feel like a guy like Steve or like Rob Cavallo, or
Yeah.
a guy like you know Lily White, or
Yeah.
a guy like Eric Valentine, or
A producer, musician.
yeah, I feel that those relationships are less I feel like bands are having less drawn out of them
Yeah.
these days, you know. And but now let me finish what I was going to say here. You know, AI, people are freaking out. You know, they're worried that computers are going to start writing their songs. They are playing an awful lot of our songs right now.
Yep.
You know, but I truly feel that there is an age of enlightenment coming up, man. Like, I really feel like I can see out here what music means to people. Like, I see it every day. You know, people tell me it every day, that songs and like the power of like marking a moment in your life with something that's happening at that moment. Like, it's such an important thing. And like, you're starting to see more people playing like acoustic guitars in restaurants, you know, like you're starting to see, you know, Phoebe Bridgers and, you know, like these folks who are actually like playing their guitars, you know, like there's some interest in these people, and there's a reason for that, because they're human, man. You know, they're human. And I feel like, you know, stuff gets to a point and people realize, I don't know if it's the absurdity or the monotony or the whatever, the insincerity kind of like what has developed.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there's like, and you get Nirvana, you know, like something happens, you know, and all of a sudden it's like, boom, there's a shift, you know. And I feel like right now we're at one of those junctures. It's like all this stuff is all incredibly valuable. Like, we've been using AI forever, man.
Yeah.
Like, since auto tune, you know,
totally.
Like, you know, since the day people started editing tape, you know, we were on our way to AI, you know, and then they made the word processor, which is the digital audio workstation. So you can, instead of using a typewriter, you can manipulate your words now, and you can put filters on your pictures, you know. This is all stuff that exists, and they're all amazing tools. But the bottom line is, it has to be human.
Yes.
To actually touch someone's heart. And I don't think you can AI that. I really don't, man. You know, I mean, I think you can come up with a cheap simulation of it, but you can't set that iPad out in front of somebody and get the same reaction
That's
that
right.
you can with somebody sitting behind a piano singing the song to them. You just can't. It's just impossible.
That's so well said and beautiful. And I'm really happy to hear you say it, because I feel that too. And I do feel there's a paradigm shift coming. And it's never the technology, man. It's just,
you got it.
They're just tools, right?
It's ideas.
That's right. Ideas, and you can't fake those.
No, for sure. And you know, you have to be able to accept what's coming next.
Yeah.
And I think that, I think if you close your eyes to what's coming next, then you're gonna miss it. If you're too pissed off about the way things, are versus the way they were,
or how they should be.
Exactly. You're gonna miss your opportunities. So I think you just need to keep looking up and make it awesome.
Beautiful answer, brother. Thank you so much for being with us, and I look forward to seeing you in a few days. We all do.
Absolutely, pal. Absolutely. It's gonna be epic, man.
It's always epic, and thank you for being the uplifting and decent human you are, bro. We all appreciate you. I'll talk to you soon, man.
All right, talk to you soon, brother. Bye-bye.